Hey guys, my name is Biora. Sorry for the delay on this video. I was playing a lot of TFT yesterday and I got very distracted. But last video we were working on using the Riot API to grab players' PUU IDs, and this video we're going to be taking a look at the SoloQ ladder. So first thing I need to do is I need to go to the Riot dev portal. First I need to make sure I reset my API key if I have not already, and then once I do that I have to go into VS Code and I have to replace it here. And then once I replace it, if you're running in a notebook, you'll have to restart the notebook. So just make sure you do all that first. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the APIs. And again, we want the leaderboard, right? So we want the Challenger, Grandmaster, and Master leaderboards. I'm going to try to get the top 2,000 players specifically. So I'm going to go to League-V4, which is where all the ladders are held essentially. And I want these ones here. I want Challenger leagues, I want Grandmaster leagues, I want Master leagues. And notice they're all basically the same thing. The only thing that changes is the Challenger, Grandmaster, Master here. So I'm going to go in here and this is what it returns. It returns the league ID, which is in this case, I guess, Challenger. It returns entries, and specifically entries here, you can see it's a list and each list has league item DTO, which you can see here, league item DTO. And this is what is in each entry. So each entry has, for example, fresh blood, whether the player is a new player to the ladder, their wins, their summoner name. I don't know what mini series is. I guess it's this here. Yeah. Okay. Win, loss, progress. I don't know what target is. It basically has all this stuff in it. Okay. And so the ladder will have entries of these items that have all that stuff. Right. And then it also has the name of the ladder, and then it has the type of queue. In this case, it'll be ranked solo queue. So I want rank solo 5x5. I'm going to use my development API key in the query, region NA1 in this case. And then I'm going to take this link here. Again, don't worry about this not being blurred. It doesn't really matter at this point, but I'm going to take this and we're going to request it. So let's see what happens when I request. So response equals requests.get. And let's see what happens when I do that. Response.json. What do we got? Okay, so inside that response, I have my entries. Again, the entries have all these different things in them, right? And then I have LeBlanc's, so we're in the LeBlanc's Hunters ladder. And then I guess this is the unique league ID, and tier is Challenger, right? So that's all that information. Now, what if I just wanted these entries? So I just want the players. I want Summoner Sendilian, actually an old friend. So what if I want entries? And then I want the first entry. So the first index, in this case, index 0. And then I want the summoner name. I can do that, right? Now, what if I want all the entries? But what if I want them in a table form? Because this is kind of illegible, right? Now, Pandas is a very cool package. I talked about this, I think, 2 videos ago. Import Pandas as PD, which means I'm importing this package Pandas, but for the sake of brevity, I'm going to call it PD. So what if I made it into a data frame? So PD.dataframe. Now, doesn't that look way nicer? It's cool because data frames intuitively know, since the, I'm going to grab this here and comment that out real quick. Since this format, each of these keys in the key value pair, so in this case, each of these dictionary entries here has a key and a value as a pair. So each of these keys are the same in each of these dictionaries. This is a list of dictionaries. So this bracket here denotes that it's a list. And then you can see there's a comma here. So it's a list of dictionaries. And each dictionary has these key value pairs. But each key in these dictionaries is the same in each dictionary. So Pandas is cool because it can recognize that. And what it'll do is it'll make those the column names, which makes it way easier. Now, before I move any further, I'm going to actually say that in this case, this is the Challenger League, right? So chal df equals, and I'm going to do a little bit more abstraction. So we're going to take this down here actually, and I'm going to remove this part. And we're going to say root equals that. The reason why, this will be clear in a second, but I'll just show you why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to take this part here, and we're going to say chal equals that. And then we have my API key already, right? So I can just get rid of all that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to get root plus chow plus question mark API key equals, which is what exists here between that and my API key. And I already have my API key up here. I've already like ran this cell. So my API key is already stored up here. So I'm just gonna say plus API key. Now that should give me the same thing, right? Cool. Child df should have everything in it. Perfect. The reason why I did that is because I want to also be able to get other leagues too. So I'm gonna duplicate this a few times, and we're gonna say here I want the Grandmaster leagues, and then here I want the Master leagues. So this will be GM and this will be Master. Hopefully that makes sense. So in this case, I want the challenger response to be this, right? But I want the GM response to have GM here. And I want the master response to have master. Although I think I'll say masters because that's kind of what people call it more colloquially. And then down here, similarly, I'm going to say I want this to only include the challenger response. And then I want a Grandmaster data frame and I want a master's data frame. And now the challenger data frame looks like this. The GM data frame looks like that, which is the 700 below challenger. And then this is master. There you go. And that's below, that's all the rest below Grandmaster, right? Now notice that these all are not really in order. So what I want to do is I want to go, we'll start with challenger. So chow df. Pandas has a cool function called sort values. So I can sort, and then I want to sort by league points. And you'll notice that the default is to sort it in ascending order. So that's not what we want, right? We want the highest LP to be at the top. So I want to say comma ascending is false in this case. And now it's reversed. You'll also notice that the rank on the left here, quote unquote rank, it's not really the actual rank, this is the index, but the index is not in order. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say reset index. I want to reset that. Now, we don't actually need the old index here right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something that is called drop equals true, meaning drop the old index. This way, the index just looks like this. Now, I want to also do that for the other two data frames. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take this and paste it here like that. So instead of having to do it each time, it's just done already right off the bat. So now my challenger data frame looks like that. My Grandmaster data frame looks like that, etc. Same thing for the masters, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to add these all together, right? I want to go from challenger to Grandmaster to masters, but I want them to all be in the same data frame. So what I will do is I'm going to concatenate those data frames, pd.concat. And what that does is if I input a list of data frames that I want to concatenate, as long as they have the same columns, so the same column names up here, then it will just tack them on to each other, right? Which is perfect. That's all we want to do. There are some other similar functions like join and merge that you might learn about in the future. But for now, this is all we need, right? So if I do that, now I have all 3,881 players that are above masters in this one data frame, and they're all in order. But if I look at the Grandmaster data frame, you'll notice that it starts at 0, and you can't really see it here because it's not going to show you every single entry. But if I was to do this same thing, but do a dot head 300, you can see how it ends at 50, which means it restarted. So I actually need to reset the index again. And this drop equals true. So this way, just make sure you don't forget about that stuff because it can get kind of annoying. So ladder equals that. But what if I only want the top 2,000, like I said, right? So you can do another cool thing with Pandas, which is I say, I just want the entries from 0 to 2,000. Right? And then it'll just give me these 2,000 entries. Perfect. Now, what if I wanted to have a column in here that was called rank, and the rank actually had the rank. So in this case, this is 0, but really he's rank 1, right? So what I want to do is add a new column. Although, why is that happening? Something, that's actually not true. What went wrong here? Oh, sorry. I forgot to rerun this cell before doing that. So that's why everything was out of order. Okay, now if I look at the ladder. Now everything's good. Okay, sorry. So what I want to do is I want to make a new column here named rank that has the actual ranks. But there's already a column here that is rank, and it is pretty useless because everything in here is just 1, which means like the challenger, like, you know, diamond 4, diamond 3, diamond 2. But this is just challenger 1, which is like super useless. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop that. So I want to say ladder equals ladder dot drop columns equal rank. So first thing I need to do is drop that. So ladder, and now that column is gone. And what I want to do is, remember before how I said you can do drop equals true? In this case, I want to do drop equals false. Ladder dot drop, or sorry, ladder dot reset index drop equals false. And now we have this column here that's called index, but I want that column to be called rank. So what I'll do is ladder equals ladder dot reset index drop equals false. And now I want to do ladder equals ladder dot rename columns equals, and then this time we do a dictionary. So I want to say I want index, the column that is already called index, I want that to instead be called rank. And now if I look at ladder, this column here is called rank. And then all I want to do now, because it's starting at 0, but I really wanted to start at 1 because obviously this is rank 1, not rank 0. I just say ladder rank equals ladder rank plus 1, or I can just say ladder rank plus equals 1. And now we have the rank column that starts at 1 and goes all the way to 2000. And that is really what I wanted. Now here, I'm just going to take these and I'm just going to paste them onto each other because it just saves line space, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay, so now we have our ladder, and the only other thing we need to do is we need to actually wrap this in a function. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to say define a function named, what do we want to name this? Let's say get ladder. And say, you know how down here we said we want the top 2000? What if instead I make this a variable and I say I want the top however many, and then that will be however many we get. So at the end I got to return the ladder, and that should be everything. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Don't believe so, but let's try it. So we'll say get ladder. I want the top 2000. So there you go. I have made a function that is called get ladder, and that gets me the entire SoloQ ladder. I can see everything here. And what I'll want to do eventually is I'll want to take these summoner names and actually change them to game name and tag using these functions up here. I'm not going to do it right now for the sake of this video, but if you want, I have actually created a full GitHub repository named Riot API tools that has essentially all this stuff in it already. So you can check that out and see how I've done this kind of on my own time. But next video, what we're going to do is we're going to go more in depth into an actual player's match history. And we're going to grab their matches and we'll see what those matches look like. So I'll see you next video.